Midpeninsula Regional. So my name is Yoriko Kishimoto. I'm president of the board of directors, and I will call it to order. And it's 7:01, I believe. And may I start with roll call, please?
Director Gleason.
Here.
Director Christine Tucker.
Here.
Director Riffle.
Here.
President Kishimoto.
Here.
Director Holman.
Here.
Director McNiven. Director Sear.
Present.
Thank you.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, so I think at least for one more month, we're going to be following the hybrid meeting procedures. Let me read the procedures. This meeting is being held in accordance with the amendment to the Brown Act through legislation known as AB 361, which allows teleconference meetings during proclaimed emergencies. So we're doing our best to conduct a hybrid meeting where everyone has an opportunity to listen to the meeting and provide comment. The meeting agenda explains how members of the public can provide comments at the meeting. They can provide them in person, through the internet, or through the telephone. Members of the public who wish to comment during the meeting should submit the public comment form, which is available in the boardroom if you're here in person, or on the website if you're attending remotely. Written comments may also be submitted. They'll be distributed to the board of directors and appropriate staff, but they will not be read into the record. So let me describe the process for today's meeting. The board members and district staff who are not attending the meeting in person will be participating on Zoom as panelists to have the ability to mute and unmute themselves. Members of the public may be present at the boardroom or via Zoom. Members of the public attending via Zoom will be able to hear and see all presentations, but they will not be able to unmute themselves or share their screens. And during the public comment period, the district clerk will call on members of the public individually who have submitted a public comment form online. And commenters will be allowed up to 3 minutes. Let's see, video of guests is turned off in Zoom. This will help the meeting run without interruption. And I will be asking for board member questions and comments by calling on individual board members. Okay, so let me start with oral communications. And I know I have 2 cards in front of me, so if there's anybody else, please submit them. And I understand there's a couple of online comments as well. So the first speaker is Alex Hapke. Welcome.
Thank you. Alexander Hapke, President, Midpeninsula Rangers Peace Officers Association. I want to express my appreciation for the ride-along meetings and discussions that the board and staff have had over the last 5 months to understand the concerns of the association. Those continued concerns being to improve district rangers' retirement benefits because of the hazards we face working in those preserves based on our job duties as peace officers, firefighters, and first responders. We expect to begin negotiations process with the district on February 15th with the goal of getting to a signed contract to replace the imposed terms of employment that expire on June 30th. I want to share a perspective I have about how the last negotiations process concluded. The association put forward a proposal for public safety benefits that the district had no interest in discussing. That approach did not allow for the back and forth negotiations process about those concerns to take place. That and the replacement of binding arbitration with an administrative law judge were the primary reasons that we declared an impasse, and the last negotiations process concluded in imposition. We plan to meet and confer in good faith. We don't want to be at an impasse again. Thank you for your consideration in this matter.
Okay, well, thank you very much for your comment. And your next commenter is Kristen Perry. Welcome.
I don't have too much to say, so probably short and sweet. I did want to introduce myself to the new board members and welcome new board members. Don't know how much this
For some reason, people can't hear.
And when we've ever been fully staffed for rangers. It seems like the turnover has been nonstop, and especially for Pepper Rangers, it seems nonstop. Like people will only come in for a few years and then move on. I do want to be able to retire from this career at a reasonable age with plenty to live on after giving this agency. If I retire here, it'll be more than 30 years of my time. And I want everyone that we hire to have that option too. So I've been doing the current round of ranger interviews through my position. And just to be honest, I have been having a hard time trying to be optimistic about providing reasons to them when they ask me, why should I work for Midpen? Like, what's so good about you? Why should I work here? I still love the job and the job hasn't changed, but it is getting harder for me to encourage anyone to choose Midpen right now over a different agency that will provide for them better in retirement for their future. So tonight, I'm just asking that the board help us make this career sustainable, help me in my job, keep people that I've worked so hard to train. I just lost somebody that I supervised who was a great ranger, and we lost him to Santa Clara County, and they offer the retirement plan that we need. So it's just so hard to understand why the Santa Clara County Park Rangers have this retirement benefit that Midpen Rangers do not. So entering this next round of negotiations, please just help us to find a way to provide for our rangers to make this career sustainable and just to make it easier for me to tell people why they should work for Midpen. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Kristen, for coming to speak to us. Let's see, District Clerk. So I understand we have a couple online commenters.
Yes.
Thank you. We're first going to call on Brendan Downing. Brendan, you have 3 minutes to speak. You can go ahead and unmute yourself. Thank you. Brendan? He is unmuted. Okay, we'll come right back to you. Let's go ahead and take Ryan Augustine.
All right, I think I'm unmuted. Can you hear me?
Thank you.
All right. I am Ryan Augustine, and I am a member of the Midpeninsula Ranger Peace Officers Association. Over the last months, you have heard from district rangers, district staff, outside agencies, and members of the public on the benefits and compensation for the district rangers. We are all aware that one of the major points of contention has been the retirement benefits provided to district rangers. For this reason, I want to refocus everyone on the underlying problem with current retirement provided to the rangers. To start, I would like to read from a CalPERS document sent to our members, your ranger staff, about the retirement plan currently provided. It states, and I quote, "Local miscellaneous members are those who are employed by a public agency or special district that has contracted with CalPERS who are not involved in law enforcement, fire suppression, the protection of public safety, or employed in a position designated by law as local safety." End quote. District rangers are designated by the district as the district's police force, and in 2022 enforced over 2,800 violations of laws and regulations on district lands. They are provided yearly legal training to stay updated on the most recent laws. Additionally, they maintain training and are equipped to defend themselves and others from violent individuals. Next, rangers are trained and equipped as wildland firefighters. They are required by policy to maintain a level of fitness to help them respond, yearly training, and they have fire pumpers on their patrol vehicles with their other fire gear. In 2022, they suppressed and extinguished fires on district lands, and as well as prevented fires from spreading onto district lands. While enforcing district regulations helps protect public safety, in 2022, rangers found and removed loaded firearms from the preserves, provided CPR to multiple individuals, and provide medical care as emergency medical responders and emergency medical technicians. The rangers' actions increased positive outcomes and saved lives, increasing the safety of the public while on and around district lands. Looking back on 2022, you can see that district rangers are involved in law enforcement, involved in fire suppression, and are involved in providing safety to the public. Using CalPERS' own description of the retirement plan supplied to rangers, district rangers are involved in 3, if not all 4, of the activities CalPERS states the plan is not designed for. This is the underlying issue, and I hope we can work together to fix this issue in the upcoming negotiations. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
And we're going to try Brendan Downing one more time.
Okay.
Brendan, if you're able to go ahead and unmute yourself, please. Our deputy clerk is trying to reach him, but we're not able to connect with him right now, so.
Okay. Well, if he does come back, perhaps we can take that or communications
thank
later in the meeting. Okay, so let's move on to the main agenda. May I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
This is Director Seer. I move we adopt the agenda.
Okay, I think I have a motion from Director Holman and a second from Director Seer. Oh, no, Director Siemens, sorry. Get your name. And
I'm sorry, may you repeat that one more time?
well, I heard Director Holman and Director
Riffle? Thank you.
Yes, and may I have roll call, please?
Director Gleason?
Yes.
Director Christine Tucker?
Yes.
Director Riffle?
Yes.
President Kishimoto,
Yes.
Director Holman,
Yes.
Director McNiven.
Yes.
Director Seer.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes 7-0.
Okay, thank you. And we have 5 items on the consent calendar. So is there any board member who wishes to pull an item or wants to make a very brief comment or question? And I see none. So I'll take a motion to adopt the consent calendar.
So moved.
I'll second.
Let's say, oh, the motion. Okay. Yes. All right. We have a motion and second.
Director Gleason,
Yes. Yes.
Director Christine Tucker.
Yes.
Director Rothel,
Yes.
President Kishimoto,
Yes.
Director Holman.
Yes.
Director McNiven.
Yes.
Director Seer.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes 7-0.
Okay, and congratulations. This is very efficient so far.
Mhm.
Okay, and we, let's move on to our business item. And yes, this is a review of the 50th year-long anniversary celebration recap.
Good evening, Board. This is Ana Ruiz, General Manager. As staff come up to the podium, I'll just say a few words. Tonight, we have a recap of all the work and effort that went in last year, a full year of celebratory events, activities, gatherings, really to demonstrate the appreciation and gratitude that we have to the public for their ongoing support for the work that this agency does day in and day out. It's with their support that we are able to do this work and to do it for 50 years and have the accomplishments that we have been able to make as an agency, but also in partnership with many, many organizations, with many community members and residents. It's been a full effort. And one of the things that we stressed and that I emphasized for the year-long activities and celebrations was to really have MidPen integrated within the community and have the community integrated with the work of MidPen. And I think you will see how that was done through the work and the effort of staff and our partners and the community. So it's a good review of everything that was put into place for the last year. And there's a lot that we have gained in terms of lessons learned, but also new networks, new partnerships, new relationships that we can really leverage forward to continue the good work. So I'm going to hand it over to staff to provide the presentation.
Good evening, Board. Corey Skinner, Public Affairs Manager. It is my great honor tonight to come before you one last time in celebration of MidPen's 50th anniversary. This time to share the results of nearly 3 years of preparation, planning, sometimes perseverance, to deliver an amazing year-long series of elements, events, engagements, innovations, experiments that this team put together to connect with our constituency. I have a long list of thank yous, so please bear with me here. I'm grateful first and foremost to the public affairs team that put in really long hours and a lot of hard work to pull off a really ambitious plan. Tonight, you're going to hear from Ryan McCauley, who joined the team in mid-December of 2021. 2 weeks before we launched, and stepped in and stepped up to serve as project lead for all of the 50 activities. And Natalie Jolly, who already a veteran at MidPen, she'd been here 60 days before Ryan started, and who led the event planning. But really the whole public affairs team played key roles along the way. Leanne Gessner, who is joining us remotely, led our media outreach. Joshua Hugg, who connected us with so many governmental partner and community organizations. Vidria Costa Merritt, who provided translations and organized our welcome tables and so much more. Eleanor Robb, who started as an intern and grew to fill a limited term position that provided a lot of the hands-on implementation of the work, a lot of ideation and copywriting, and nearly all of our social media for the year. I can't forget former staff members, Mike Kahn and Sasha Natkovich, who did a lot of the initial planning to set us up for success. And of course, the recently retired Sydney Bieber, who really kept everything together and moving forward with her hard-earned insights and pragmatic solutions. Of course, this was an agency-wide effort. Staff from every other department offered their time and talents to share their passion for the work that we do, and I thank them all, Rangers particularly, for their help in the events that we did. I want to thank Isis Dallas and her team at Matter Unlimited, who are our consultants, for their vision and extra implementation help, and Kate Taffel and her team at Make a Scene Events for their expertise and assistance. Of course, Doug McConnell and Jordan Plotsky and the rest of the teams at Digital Story Company and NBC Bay Area for a documentary that will carry the celebration forward. Post and Green Foothills for their presenting sponsorships. Thank you, Anna, for helping us hold that ultimate vision for the celebration to integrate MidPenn fully into our community and our community fully into MidPenn, or full community into MidPenn. And thank you, board members, for approving this grand plan and providing the resources that we needed to get it done, the funding and the staffing, and as well as your input all along the way as we went through it. Now I'll turn it over to Ryan and Natalie for the presentation. If you'd hold your questions to the end, then we can show you kind of the big picture, and then we can dive deeper into the elements. So thank you.
Good evening, directors. My name is Ryan McCauley. I'm a public affairs specialist too, and I served as project manager for the 50th anniversary celebration. Tonight, we want to provide sort of a recap of all of the celebration activities, go through each project element, discuss the goals, results, and some of the lessons learned. The presentation will be split into two parts. The beginnings, sort of going through the celebration activities, the online engagement campaigns, and some of the media metrics I'll cover, and then I'll pass it to my colleague, Natalie Jolly, who will go through the events. Again, to echo sort of what Corey said, I'm really proud of sort of what this team and what this agency has been able to accomplish with the 50th anniversary. It took a lot of hard work, but really excited to sort of see the results. And as mentioned again, sort of, although public affairs sort of spearheaded the effort, really all departments provided a lot of work and a lot of heavy lifting for this anniversary celebration. So definitely want to thank all of our departments who played a part. To start, I'd like to sort of you're likely going to remember this statement, but this was sort of our narrative that we went into the 50th. So I'm going to go ahead and read it. The peninsula dividing the ocean and the bay features a dense coat of green, sloping from its tree-lined spine to its craggy coast. That land is Midpenn, a 70,000-acre greenbelt. The land is protected, cared for by an ever-evolving crew of dedicated staffers, directors, board members, and volunteers who have been actively future-proofing this crucial ecosystem for what is now officially 50 years. This 50-year mark is our chance to recognize the opportunity given to us by the community and the land itself. We see our mission not as a way to protect land from people, but a way to protect it for the people. We're proud to shape a future where people and land can rely on each other and thrive with each other in perpetuity. Midpenn, from 50 to forever. So we really used this narrative as a way to ground us in sort of the land that we help manage, and remind ourselves what a special gift this land has been, and really ground us in sort of our place, and remind us what a special place we live in. Going into some of the project goals, our first goal was really to, commemorate Midpenn's 50 years from founding to its evolution, really telling our history. How were a small group of local community members spurred into action to create Midpenn and to create this long-lasting legacy. Our next goal was to increase public awareness and positive regard. In our 2020 benchmark survey, we noticed a gap in awareness for many within our district. So we really saw this project as an opportunity to close that gap and to really increase that awareness and positive regard for folks. Our third was to tell the whole story of Midpenn's legacy. Really, to us, that's about educating folks about who Midpenn is, what we do, and what our mission is. We know, again, referencing our 2020 benchmark survey, once people sort of understand who Midpenn is, once they understand our mission, the positive regard rises exponentially. Really, to know us is to love us. So one of our major goals was to educate folks about what we do, all the incredible work that we're able to accomplish. And our fourth and final goal was really to celebrate partners, board members, volunteers, and staff. Again, based on our 2020 benchmark survey, we did notice a gap in awareness, particularly with adults between 20 to 40. So we used this again as an opportunity really to focus and focus energies and awareness to those target audience. For advertising and media purpose, we expanded that range from 25 to 54 to better align with those segments. Our secondary target audience was really a reflection on the district's community to equity and a desire to expand outreach to new audiences. And so that included our Black, Indigenous, and people of color audiences and community members, as well as our environmental allies. On this slide, I wanted to show sort of a broad overview of all of the work that went into planning this event. As Corey mentioned, planning really began in 2020. So even before I had joined the agency, but then again, really kicked off in 2021 with sort of our logo reveal, our pages on the website, a calendar. We also had views features start to be featured every month, as well as our media outreach, social media, tabling, and the like. When planning, we really wanted to focus on our cornerstone events, and those are sort of our large public events. Those are bolded. But also because we were planning in a time where COVID was very top of mind, we wanted folks to have an easy way to engage with us and also be able to participate. Trying to plan a celebration event when folks are still concerned about social distancing was a very tricky thing to do. So I do, again, want to echo Corey and thank our partners at Matter Unlimited, who did help with a lot of this sort of planning work to set us up for a full year of celebration. Oh, I'm sorry. Spotted at Midpen began in March. For our pre-launch, we really started that off with a Winter's View insert, and that column was written by Anna. And that was also included in 7 regional newspapers that got mailed out to community members. So normally our Views newsletter is about 25 or so thousand, but this actually increased it to about 100,000. So really reached a lot of folks with that insert in community newspapers. We also updated our website, and we published a history timeline that sort of celebrated and marked all the major milestones for Midpen. We produced a 2022 wall calendar with Room to Breathe as sort of the title. And if you're familiar, that was sort of the Measure R slogan that first got Midpen passed into existence. We also updated our letterhead, templates, PowerPoints, and email signatures as well. And we did have this very fancy commemorative logo to celebrate our 50 years. One thing about the logo is that it was really well received by a lot of partners. You can see here our friends at Marin County Parks used a very similar logo style format. San Benito Agricultural Land Trust actually reached out to us. They noticed our logo as well and asked permission to use it. We of course obliged, just sharing in the public sector. And Open Space Authority had also reached out. They noticed our anniversary activities and had reached out and were helping share information and sort of best practices. Corey also gave a presentation to San Mateo County Parks as they are planning for their anniversary activities as well. So again, just really showing that this work got out to our partners and has helped sort of make those connections. Starting off with the year, though, we really started off with a lot of legislative proclamations. So we did receive proclamations and special recognition from our federal, state, and local legislative delegation, including a special proclamation from our sister agency at OSA. These proclamations really expanded awareness and offered our governmental partners a chance to share in celebrating the success. A lot of them sort of mentioned the 50 years and how much of a legacy that we've been able to have. In October, Congresswoman Eshoo joined our board meeting to present the certificate in person, which I know was a lot of excitement. Moving on to our first sort of online engagement campaign was called Open Stories. This kicked off in January with the profile of Valentin Lopez, chairman of the Ama Mutsun Tribal Band, and continued throughout the year with a weekly profile. Dubbed Open Stories, this element told the stories of 50 individuals and showed their connection with Mid-Penn lands. The goal of the campaign was really to sort of show the different ways that folks are engaged with Mid-Penn lands, how they've had an effect, and sort of how they've connected. Another goal was really to sort of show the faces of people and allow for our audience and our community members to see themselves in Mid-Penn. Really dispel any sort of stereotypes of who conservationists are, who environmentalists are, really be able to highlight our partnerships, our wide diversity of folks who are connected to Mid-Penn. We chose a variety of individuals from former staff and board members to our community partners from Vida Verde, Latino Outdoors, as well as even our preserve visitors and docent naturalists. This really helped strengthen a lot of relationships and forge a lot of new relationships as well. We had nearly 90,000 impressions and 260 referrals to the website from this campaign. In February, we launched our Open Hearts campaign, and this was sort of tied in with Valentine's Day, but really was a shorter campaign that only lasted through February. And really the goal was to amplify diverse social media voices, especially those of our younger audience. We invited folks to write us a love letter, sort of, they could include anything they like, but a lot of themes really, they were really emotional. They tugged at my heartstrings the more I read them. They were about Mid-Penn open space preserves providing a refuge in the times of COVID-19. People wrote about going on hikes with their loved ones, spending time outdoors and being able to connect. Some folks wrote poems, just really showing how connected people are to this land. And so those are really, really beautiful to read. We got about 50 submissions and saw about 478 page visits and received 24,000 impressions. Excuse me. Our next online campaign was Spotted at Mid-Penn. This launched in March and was really sort of a replacement to our traditional photo contest. The goal was to create an interactive element that was broadly accessible to a wider audience than just sort of preserve visitors. Traditionally, the photo contest really focuses on very, very skilled wildlife and outdoor photographers, where we wanted it to be very, very easy for folks to enter and be able to participate. All folks had to do was hashtag Spotted at Mid-Penn on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter. They could also submit an online form if they're not on social media, which is totally understandable. Over the course of the campaign, we got about 130,000 impressions and 720 submissions. That's about quadruple the amount of submissions we traditionally get for our photo contest. I will say that this campaign did last about 3 times as long as the traditional photo contest, so still a lot of great participation. Included in this campaign, we actually produced a flora and fauna guide that included places of interest. We wanted, again, really setting our eyes on sort of a low barrier to entry. We wanted folks to be able to see and have a resource for what they can find in preserves. So we included, easier things to find, such as black-tailed deer, as well as, a California madrone. We also included places of interest for our sort of less naturalist inclined audiences. And also you can kind of guarantee they're able to see something. So we included the Tafoni Monolith, Mount Umunhum, and the Ravenswood Boardwalk. We also did something new with the guide. We sort of borrowed from our friends at Post. They do a lot of hike guides that you have to opt in to their newsletter to download. And so we took a similar tact with our Spotted guide. We got about 60 downloads for the first 2 months, and then we took that opt-in off. And didn't really see the conversion rate change. So what that shows us is that folks are really interested in sort of what we're providing, and signing up for a newsletter is not sort of a deterrent. One of the next things I want to talk about is really our media outreach campaign. And this is something that we're also particularly proud of as an effort to expand our awareness. A lot of effort was put into securing coverage in local media outlets. We did have about 70 million impressions. I do want to sort of preface that with saying that our media impressions were collected by our consultant Matter, and are sort of a very general metric. Impressions are defined by an overall circulation and sort of web traffic to those outlets. it's harder to measure exact sort of story reads on those publications, but sort of that number. You can see some of the publications that we were featured in here. Some of the more regional online print, including SF Gate, the Mercury News, and the SF Chronicle. We even landed on the front page of their local section on the Sunday print edition on March 14th, which I know was really exciting for me personally. Additionally, we received a lot of coverage on network television, including NBC Bay Area and ABC7, as well as more community-focused outlets such as the Daily Journal, Mountain Network News, and KHMB Coastside Radio. Another point that I really want to emphasize was our outreach to non-English media publications. We really wanted to focus our pitches and translate our pitches to reach those audiences. So we were able to be featured in the Tsingtao Daily newspaper, Wind newspaper, and Susanna Chan did do an interview with Bay Area Metro, which is a Chinese radio station. We also got placements in El Observador, and Ana gave an interview to Telemundo. So really successful in sort of reaching those new partners and new audiences. In addition to our traditional media, we also embarked on something new for MidPenn, which was a digital advertising campaign. We launched this in April, sort of leading up to our Bayside Family Festival. And we opted to focus our resources into digital advertising really for two reasons. The first was to better target sort of the younger audience, based on sort of metrics. They're more likely to be online rather than reading print sources. And number two, we were really able to track the efficacy of the actual ads and boost our resources towards those ads that were getting the most traction. Our advertising was split into three categories: social media, which sort of appeared as posts within users' news feeds; video advertising, which would play before videos; and programmatic native to display ads. Those are sort of those banner ads that are embedded in web pages when you're visiting online. Our social media focused on Instagram and Facebook. Our videos were through YouTube and TikTok. One thing again that we tried to do was really to expand that net, and we translated all of our paid advertising into Spanish and Chinese as well, really to reach new audiences. In terms of sort of the performance of that campaign, we got about 8 million impressions. This is roughly double our original goal of about 4 million, and 770,000 video views. Again, as I mentioned, week over week, we saw an improvement in efficiency because we were able to see which ads resonated the most, which were getting the most clicks, and sort of put those resources behind those ads. Our programmatic display, and those again are the ads that are sort of embedded in websites, that actually was the most successful. It drove about 80% of web traffic through that campaign. So that was another really great learning to have. And the Spanish and Chinese ads did result in high engagement. We saw they were clicked through. The Spanish did slightly better in terms of efficiency. The Chinese ads required a bit higher cost per click to sort of target and find those audiences. We also worked closely with Bay Nature for our anniversary. In their fall issue, we had a paid insert that sort of had 5 different articles about MidPenn, really about our mission, and used different projects as sort of demonstrating our commitment. Subjects included habitat connectivity, land restoration work, and our partnerships with ranchers. These have a really long shelf life, so we are able to use these in our outreach as well. Additionally, with Bay Nature, Nanette Hanko was named their 2022 Conservation Action Local Hero, and many of our directors and staff were able to join them at their 12th annual event. Finally, as a capstone, we did air a documentary. We worked with Doug McConnell's company and his company to produce the documentary. It was split into 6 different segments. The first was really about the district's origin stories and the factors locally that sort of caused local neighbors to launch Measure R. The second educated audiences on the condition in which MidPenn usually acquires land and the many layers of human history intertwined with the preserves. The third included information on MidPenn's commitment to protecting local wildlife and the urban wildland interface. Our fourth segment was about MidPenn's conservation grazing program and our partnerships with local ranchers. Our fifth followed a Our fifth was a segment that talked about our restoration work and ensuring healthy watersheds. And our last segment was really future focused, talking about our efforts to combat climate change impacts, as well as our volunteer program, really inviting folks to get involved. The documentary aired twice, the first on the 24th of December, which garnered about 5,000 views, which was a good audience, considering it was also going up against 2 NFL games. That includes a Niners game where they crushed the Washington Commanders. It aired again on the 25th, and that actually had 30,000 viewers, and that's against several NBA games, which includes a Warriors game where they crushed the Memphis Grizzlies. It received more views than any other entertainment programming across that market hour, so really exciting to see that. If you missed it, we do have them uploaded on our YouTube channel. So we have the entire documentary as well as the individual segments. We did hold an office viewing party last week, and it's really great to be able to join together with staff and sort of enjoy the documentary together. And with that, I'll go ahead and pass it to my colleague, Natalie Jolly.
Thanks, Ryan. I don't really know where to put that, so I'm gonna put it right there. Hi, good evening, directors. My name is Natalie Jolly. I am a public affairs specialist here at MidPenn, and I had the pleasure of leading the 50th anniversary events. As Ryan previously mentioned, the 50th celebration was a way for MidPenn to connect with community members and raise public awareness for our work. And the anniversary events provided a great opportunity to bring the preserves to the public in a very different way. A series of public events at this scale had previously not been attempted by our agency, and the 50th anniversary gave us a perfect reason to test out our special event skills to engage new audiences and communities across the entire district. We had a large spread of 3 events throughout the year: the Bayside Family Festival in April, the Coastside Community Celebration in September, the partner reception in December here at the administrative office. And also we had 12 pop-up tablings that ran kind of in the background throughout the entire year at various preserves. While each event had specific goals and metrics, we had some overarching aims for the events as a whole. First, while the events need to be the first was that the events should be community and family focused, meaning that we would include local agencies and organizations and seek out performances and presentations that catered to all ages. The second, that regardless of where the events were being held, that we kept forefront in our minds to showcase all MidPenn preserves and open spaces in general, and invite the community to continue to explore open spaces beyond these events. The third, that we invite our longtime partners and community groups to celebrate with us, as our achievements would not have been possible without the work that they do. And finally, to inform the public of MidPenn's mission and how we intend to see that mission to fruition in perpetuity. So we can go ahead and start with the first event, the Bayside Family Festival. This took place in April at Ravenswood Open Space Preserve and the City of East Palo Alto's Cooley Landing. Programming for this event included a discovery journey scavenger hunt with station staff by our MidPenn docent naturalists along the Bay Trail, an insect discovery lab from Save Nature, demonstrations from Wildlife Education and Rehabilitation Center, a Hats of the Ranger presentation by our fantastic MidPenn Rangers, Master Falconer Antonio Balistreri's presentation, a talk from Bay Area artist and environmental activist Linda Gass, and musical performances from children's singer-songwriter Andy Z, West African percussionists, folklorico groups, and Step It Up youth dance group. We also had local food trucks and popsicle carts that went throughout the event, and we featured 23 exhibitor booths hosted by our partners. Our original goal was to see 300 attendees for this event when we first started to plan, and we were able to crush that number with 800 attendees. We did a survey to the participants after the event, and we saw a 90% positive review for the event. I just want to share a couple of the little snippets that we heard back from the event about what people said was their favorite part. So we heard that the scavenger hunt was a great way to get us to learn, and it was fun too. Everyone was so friendly and eager to help. My 3-year-old grandson thanked me for bringing him, which says it all. And the event brought a whole bunch of local residents to the preserve, which hopefully encourages them to use it more often. And I believe we saw also a 95% response saying that people would return to Ravenswood to explore it further. Moving on to the Coastside Community Celebration. This is our second event of the year, held at Johnston House, which is adjacent to Johnston Ranch in Half Moon Bay. Programming for the festival included, once again, the Insect Discovery Lab by Save Nature. That was a favorite from the previous event. Demonstrations, once again, from Master Falconer Antonio Belstreri. Our friends NorCal Bats joined us this time for a wildlife presentation. We also had agricultural talks from local farmer John Giusti and Lenny Roberts of Post. Pickling and food preservation demonstrations from UC Master Food Preservers, a beekeeping presentation from a master beekeeper of San Mateo County, another Hats of the Rangers presentation from our fantastic Mid-Penn Rangers, tours of the Johnston House from the Historical Association, dance performances from Alas, live local music from Fret and Fiddle and Stephen Graves Band, and 4 local food vendors. Having already established so many great connections from the Bayside event, we were happy to see many of our partners return for this event, which allowed us to expand our tables from 23 in the first event to 39 at this event. And that also includes several Mid-Penn's themed coastside tables that featured our ongoing projects and programs on the coastside. After almost tripling our attendance in the first event from 300 to 800, we decided to really push ourselves and try to internally get 1,000 attendees at this event. We were once again able to surpass that number, getting 1,200 participants. And in the survey we sent afterwards, we saw 95% positive review from our attendees. So that was really incredible. Once again, we sent the survey out, and these are just a couple snippets of what we heard that people enjoyed. We learned so very much about the many wonderful things happening on the coast side, the entire sense of community gathered together, and the chance to appreciate and protect our wildlife and open space, and the creative demonstrations, pickling, dehydrating, ranger hats and bees, the house tour, and enjoying the beautiful setting. And I just want to say personally, I think this is the event I am most proud of. I think we achieved some amazing reach with this event, especially on the coast side, and it was incredible to see so many of our partners, staff, and community come together on this event. I think it was really something special. And I've kind of, this one might take a minute to load. It's a pretty big slide, and for good reason. We had a lot of partners that were a part of these celebrations. We did some incredible outreach to let them know what was going on and invite them to celebrate with us and to showcase their amazing work. We did this both for the Bayside and the Coastside event. And some of these partners we've had for many years, like our presenting partners, Post and Green Foothills, but a lot of them were really new to us. And we would not have seen the success we did at these events without the amazing work of the people listed in these organizations here. It was really incredible to see so many people respond to our call to partner and to celebrate. Our last major event was the partner reception, which took place right here a little over a month ago at this point, or 2 months ago. Held here at the AO on December 1st, despite a very rainy Thursday. We saw close to 300 attendees, including former and current staff, the board members, volunteers and docents, and our longtime partners. Activities for that day included guided building tours from our staff, a chance for our guests and partners to both connect and reconnect for the first time in a long while, and also an opportunity to celebrate all of our achievements as a collaborative community in the field of open space. And finally, one of our events that kind of ran, like I said, in the background was our 12 pop-up tablings that public affairs staff did throughout the year. And this really gave us a chance to talk face-to-face with people while they were actively in the preserves and enjoying the open space. And one of my favorite moments from my time here at Mid-Penn ever was doing the Los Trancos tabling in February with Rangers Ryan Jordan and previous Ranger Tommy Anaya. We handed out the open heart love letters that Ryan had mentioned earlier, which had previously just been an online activation. We thought, let's bring them and see. It was around Valentine's Day. And it gave people a chance as they were leaving the preserve to really reflect on their hike. And it was a beautiful moment. People were crying, writing poems, writing letters to loved ones they had missed during COVID. And it was just absolutely beautiful. And it just kind of nailed home that open space is a place of healing for so many. And I think that that was a theme that we really tried to remember and carry through this entire 50th anniversary with our outreach. And that's it. And I just want to say once again that none of this would have been possible without my amazing coworkers in public affairs who are not up here with us today. They did so much work behind the scenes, as well as the entire Mid-Penn staff. I don't think there was a department that didn't play a role in these activities and events, and it would not have been possible without them. I can't think of how many times I called this coworker or that coworker to save me in a moment of panic, and I'm sure Ryan will probably feel the same way. So we just want to make sure, even though it's just us standing up here today, that recognition be given to everyone. Thank you.
Okay, whoa, yeah.
And with that, we will entertain any questions you may have.
Okay, well. Well, what a party we threw. Yeah, thanks to all of your amazing work. So thank you so much. I think it was transformative. I have some comments, but I'm going to go to my colleagues first.
Yeah, I have comments. I don't have questions. So
Yes, I think we can go ahead. Questions. Okay. All right.
one thing was that I will have some comments and congratulations, but I read through the planning presentation, which I was actually amazed at how closely the actual events followed to
Me
the
too.
plans, which is and hearing that some of you joined late in the planning process, that was even more impressive. But there's one slide in there that has sort of the key audiences, and one of the big circles is the Black, Indigenous, and people of color. I just wanted to hear more about how do you feel you did in reaching that audience?
Great question. We did, Corey Skinner, Public Affairs Manager, we did do the surveys in, for example, the Ravenswood event survey. That showed us, correct me if I'm wrong here, I think 24% of that fit into that demographic, and showed that they were new to Mid-Penn. That was one of the big things. It reached an audience that we weren't reaching with our traditional channels. And then the media outreach, the non-English media outreach is one that we did big on. We did invite one of the open stories. We opened the year of the open stories, which were those little vignettes that we did 50 for every week of the year for 50 people. We opened that with Val Lopez, the Amamutsan tribal leader, and we had intended to close the year with the Muwekma tribal leader. They were unable to participate due to other commitments. So we reached out to the tribal members in our community to help them participate. The Amamutsan were able to at some points. The Muwekma were not. They had a very busy year.
Thanks. I guess the other question, I'm not sure. Probably the most confusing thing to me in reading over the materials was these topics about the huge number of impressions. And you spoke about that a little bit, but I'm just wondering if you can expand a little bit on, do you have some tangible understanding of how much difference that makes, or any way to interpret the impact of those numbers?
In terms of numbers, or
more in terms of what benefit does the whole process get from that reach? Because just numbers like 70 million it's very, very hard to understand what that means.
It's very, very big.
Yeah, it's a huge number. It means
there are about 700,000, a little over 700,000, almost 800,000 in our constituency. So our reach obviously expanded beyond our constituency because it went to San Francisco and it went to San Jose. But that's pretty good coverage from an advertising measurement perspective. Does that get at what you're asking?
Yeah, I think I'm just still having a hard time understanding how to, if that number were 20 million or, 150 million, I wouldn't know how to interpret the impact of it.
Yeah.
So that in and of itself, to me, let me try it again, because I do have a background in advertising. The number, the metrics of the audience is how you measure that. And you saw us going through, and we tried to do a really good job of explaining it in the report of how the impressions, especially if you think about online, it's really easy to measure those impressions because they're tracked. And then our caveat on the media impressions are more vague because they're circulation numbers, and that's how that channel is measured. So we tried to bring all of those audiences together as audience. So essentially you're talking about eyeballs, except as Stefan always tells me, there's 2 eyeballs, so it's double. So approximately 80 million people. Now we can't quantify because this wasn't a advertising campaign, so to speak. We can't quantify how much of that was one person X number of times. I can't give you that number because it wasn't a paid media campaign, but that's how you measure that, is just in total audience members reached. So for me, knowing that our entire constituency is, call it 800,000, that we over-delivered on that, tells me that it was very successful for our purposes, which was reaching beyond the traditional users, the traditional environmentalists, into new audiences.
Okay, thanks.
Help?
That's very helpful. Yeah.
Director Holman?
Going for it, well, thank you, and thank you, and thank you. And we can keep that going many times over. How do you see us going forward to make best use of what we did this year? And is there a way really to, it sort of speaks to what you were just saying, is like, is there a way to know like how sticky this year was?
You will see on March.
Maybe people don't know what sticky is.
March 22nd, you will see the new results, because we fielded that 2020 benchmark survey that Ryan mentioned at the beginning. That was the first time that we had done an awareness survey at MidPenn that was just around, how well do you know us? How well do you understand what we do? A little bit of message testing in there. We fielded almost the exact same survey, because that one came out right before COVID, fortuitously. We fielded a survey last year, I guess now, in that same time period, following COVID exposures, and I can't put those 2 words together anymore. Following COVID and all of the awareness that came to MidPenn through COVID, and then following all of our awareness built through 50th. We put that survey in the field, and we're bringing you those results in March from that.
Okay, great. And then maybe just one other question. And that's how best to ask this without scaring people. So these events were so successful. I mean, so many elements of this were so very, very successful. The other question that goes along with the first question is there any thought or planning what you think would be prudent to do in a scaled down version in 3 years? Or I don't want to make up a timeline, but so we're touching, kind of in repeated fashion, but not like a 50th anniversary, because you don't do that every year. But is there some element, some aspect of some of the things that were done that we should repeat periodically?
Absolutely. For those of you that have been on the board for a while, you'll recall in 2019, we brought together a strategic communications plan. And so all of this is kind of rolled together in that. And it is sort of reshaping how we communicate beyond preserve users. So this is all part of that grand strategy of leveling up the way that we do things and the learnings from them. There was a lot of experimentation in this year. We'll take our learnings from that. For example, the extra effort put behind earned media. So our prior experience was to, create a press release, put it out, move on to the next press release. We found and created the ability to do a little specific outreach around those media releases, matching them to a likely targeted publication. And we found really good success with that. And we found a way to streamline it so that it wasn't, oh, you need an entire person 3 days this week to work the phones to get that out. So we learned a lot about that, and we created a lot of confidence in the way that we communicate. The social media, you've seen us build that from COVID on. That's pretty stable and pretty successful now. We've recreated a website and we know how to use the content in that now. So we're building the skill set of communication outreach tools, including the actual outreach as we think of it, the community tabling parts. So all of those things come together, form an integrated marketing communications plan to go out. The events themselves are heavy lifts in the way, especially in the way that we did these, and they require a whole lot of planning and it's really the contingency plans. A lot of these were COVID, but the transportation and shuttling and trying to predict audience participation and how many shuttles do you have to have because you're spending
Heavy
that money.
winds.
Yeah. Yeah, all kinds of crazy stuff. So the large events, actually reach the fewest number of people, but that reach is deeper. Those people are going to remember that event for a long time. So I think our takeaways from that are the types of events that we do almost annually around a trail opening or around some small celebration is bringing the elements that made these large events successful into those events, more so than trying to have the giant grand event.
If nobody minds, I have one more question, maybe. Is there thought to, thank you for the very complete answer. Is there thought to doing from all of this, it's what you talked about the very deep connection. We all know this, and I've become even more aware of it lately just because of things. About how, when kids become, engendered with nature, it's oftentimes a lifelong imprint. So is there any thought of doing something that's specifically focused on kids?
Events or
Events
things.
or, well, let's say events and you can take it from where you want to.
You want me to summarize it? I don't want to put you on the spot. Okay. We have Natalie runs our community outreach program. And yesterday we sent her out in an event on our preserves run by Richard Hayda from Saved by Nature that was middle schoolers. And that the programming that he has in those events, you could see the light bulbs come on in these little kids, and they're going to remember that forever. And so that's one of our tools in our outreach. Right now, Mid-Penn as an agency isn't staffed to do a ton of that. So we're using community outreach partners. So we're actually building that capacity and that capability within our outreach partners to do those kind of things so that we can spread the impact among other community-based organizations.
That's great. And Environmental Volunteers, of course, works with children. And then one that Yoriko is very familiar with is Hidden Villa, which we don't seem to have a particular relationship with. But thank you for all your answers.
Thank you. Just to follow up on Director Holman's point there. One of the things that has been so impressed with the tabling is the amount of fun things for kids to do and how engaged kids are in our tables. So even if we don't have large events, just that continual engagement in our tables has been really powerful, in my opinion. I love to watch the kids. And so I have another follow-on question, I think kind of
along the lines of Director Gleason and Director Holman, given that we had these many, many media impressions, lots, and we've increased awareness and kind of increased the breadth of coverage, if you will. Are there other things that we look at, and I'm thinking preserve visitation or willingness to open their pocketbook for another funding measure? I mean, how do we translate those media impressions into actions like pulling more people into the preserves, or making them more willing to continue to support the district financially?
Mhm. You know, I think I don't have the graphic with me, but do you remember that concentric circles that looks like a target? And so that is a communications path. So that outer ring is awareness. So you have to create that breakthrough moment, which many of the 50th things were designed to do, is to catch the attention. And then once you have the attention, you can begin the education, the next rung in, so that the moment of connection where they start to understand what you're selling, so to speak. The third rung in is that chance for sampling. They come out to Ravenswood, they come out to the coast side, they sample what Mid-Penn is about in many, many ways. A website visit would be a sample, a social media post, all of those things were that moment of connection. Once they've done that, then you have then you're in that relationship core. And that's where you're building the supporters that may support a funding measure before a future funding measure, or a chance to have a career as a Mid-Penn staffer, all of those everything, volunteer, expansion of our docent programs and our volunteer programs. So it's in that center circle. But there's a lot of communication work that has to be done before they get to that center circle. I just need to carry that slide with me. I'll get a t-shirt.
Let's see, any other questions? Well, we can move on to comments. Director Riffle.
Sure, be happy to. I just remember when we started this whole thing 3 years ago.
I barely do.
Yeah. And I just want to congratulate the three of you and the public affairs team, because this was on your shoulders. It took the entire staff, but we were looking at you guys to say, figure out how to get this thing done. So I think you should take a minute and just say, job well done. So I really appreciate that. I just want to focus on the team and Corey, your leadership for that. The second thing, though, is I'd like to thank our entire staff. Some of them are here tonight. But what's amazing is I've been through a few 50-year things and 40-year things, and it's really hard because I've got a regular job to do, but yet I'm been asked to celebrate a 50-year, 40-year, and somehow staff pulled it off. We got a lot done last year in addition to a 50th anniversary, in addition to moving into this building and so on. So I was very impressed with what staff was able to do, and a lot of that goes to the planning and execution that you led. I think it also is an opportunity for staff and board. I know this is something that I felt was just an opportunity to step back and think, wow, we are part of just this incredible thing over the last 50 years. And sometimes you're just so busy doing things that you don't take time to think about all the things that have been accomplished. And so I think it's something that maybe hasn't been articulated, but I think certainly has been felt. So thanks for doing that. I like the fact that you balance the celebrating of what we accomplished over 50 years with the opportunity to invite people to join us. That was very nicely done. It was not only, look at what we've done, but here's how you can now join us and go forward. That really came out, I thought, very well. I was impressed with the innovative tools, and like we talked about the open stories and spotted it. I was a little dubious of some of those, as Corey knows, and wow, they really worked. So thanks for incorporating those. And then also, thanks for incorporating or blending the in-person events with the social media, if you will, virtual online. That was pretty cool. I'm kind of more of an in-person person. Again, I was kind of wondering how the whole social media and online work was going to, but wow, you all pulled it off. So thanks for doing that. And then finally, and this was kind of mentioned, that the focus on the non-traditional audiences, I think really came through. And in a way, that, if you will, the silver lining of the pandemic is there were a lot of people that came into our preserves almost like, I don't know what this is, but it's the only thing open. So I'm here, and wow, this is pretty cool. And then boy, this then came almost right on the heel or tail of that. And really, I think really cemented, and something I think that you all were just talking about, of saying, this is a pretty cool organization. You know, thanks for doing this. And now I've discovered where I am and why it is. So I'll stop there. I've gone on long enough. No questions, just many compliments, and thank you for a job well done.
Thank you.
Yes. Yeah. Director Sear?
Director Sear, I really appreciate the way you articulated that, Kurt. Better than I could, but I really want to thank the entire staff, but especially what you folks have done is really mind-boggling. And thank you. I was trying to think, well, let's see, what would it be like to sit down and try and plan something like this? And you may have gotten past your kind of quiver at first, but you pulled it off, and it was really spectacular. So thank you very much.
Dr. Holman?
Yeah, seeing this even makes me feel even more conflicted, because for the coast side event, I was at a family wedding in Missouri. So dang, can't be two places at once. But I was wondering, and it's a question, sorry for that. It's a question actually, because so many people were involved in this. How is, and I look to you on this, Corey, like there were a lot of docents, like at the Ravenswood event, there were a lot of docents there too. So how are people being thanked who came, supported, spoke at, carried that message forward on their tours? How are people being thanked? Are they getting like a personal thank you? Or I'm hoping not just an email, but I understand with the number of people that might be all that can be accomplished.
Yeah, so I, with the help of Eleanor Robb, one of our other public affairs staff, wrote handwritten thank yous to all of our partners and presenters. We also made sure that the docents, partners, attendees, staff all received a survey asking what we could do better, what they liked, what they didn't like, so that if we ever attempted something like this again, we would have more information. And in that survey, we also thanked them for their work. And then in our all staff meetings and just every day in the hallway, thank you again for keeping our sanity and helping this become a success. So I hope people know how grateful we are, both staff, partners, docents, everybody. I think everyone had a lot of fun, especially with the events and the other activations too.
Great answer. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I would have said, I think that we did it all year long. I kind of think the orange t-shirt was enough.
Oh, okay, great. Well, I have a couple comments, I guess, you know what, and I do want to thank Director Riffa for your excellent comments as well. I thought that summarized it really well. I mean, I do feel that, in many ways, it was a very transformative process. I mean, and I think you did really transform the way even we see ourselves, right? I mean, like I said, we also moved into a new building and such, but I mean, that we did really cross that barrier, that 50th barrier or whatever it was. And so that we're no longer the small startup, and we're you know, we're a significant organization, obviously. And so I think that was a big part of it. It was also interesting that often 50th anniversaries are done with, you know, one big dinner, you know, and And it's often, and a lot of organizations have to do fundraising. And so that tends to be their focus. Fortunately, we don't have to do the fundraising. We just have to thank our voters. And so it was really refreshing and wonderful to see all the energy spent on, reaching out to the public. And so that was great. And especially at that, the coast side one, I was really impressed with, that the 2 rows of the partners. I mean, somebody must have worked very hard to. Yeah, I mean, they were all great. I mean, they all had activities. They were all buzzing, and it really felt part of this amazing community. So they were all kind of talking to each other and such. So I think you really kind of helped raise the, just raised us all basically. So that was, you did a lot. Yeah. So thank you so much. Yeah. Okay. One more. Okay. One more. Oh, yes, please. Go ahead.
Yeah, so first, I think the whole organization, staff, management, board members, last year's board members, really do deserve huge congratulations for this. But as Kurt said, your team did the heavy lifting, and it's great to hear your enthusiasm speaking about this. And we can tell that you're proud, and you should be proud. So thank you very much for that. I just wanted to mention a couple things. One was I did actually attend the Bayside Family Festival as a partner. I was tabling with the Silicon Valley Mountain Bikers with Charlie Krenz. And one thing that you mentioned was about the family focus. And I think the most striking thing that we saw there was that so many of the people coming to us were families. And, it's mountain bikers, so you could go a lot of places and see just a bunch of 25 to 55-year-old men. But it really was different there. So you really hit that target, and I think that was great. The other thing I wanted to mention was we had the All Preserved Great and Small series that was tied into the 50th anniversary, and I was able to go on 3 of those hikes, and they're just fantastic. I love the docent-led events and the docents in general, but that was just a particularly great series of events. And I know that there were people who are going back to those over and over again, and there were new people coming in, and speaking to those people, you could tell they're really deeply impacted by those events. And I think both of those, the docent-led events and the volunteer programs, any way that we can figure out to increase their reach, because they do hit a smaller number of people, but they impact them very, very deeply. And it's exactly sort of the way that we want to draw people in and connect them to the open space and increase their value for it. And the docents and the volunteer coordinators are just great teachers. So I think those are fantastic things. And just tying that into the 50th was terrific. Thank you.
So I will concur with all the comments and kudos from my colleagues, and a couple things that I wanted to mention that I don't think we touched on yet. And first off, Corey, to you, it was your discipline in helping us. We were just like had 5 million ideas, and we loved them all. And you kept us, focused and kept narrowing us down to what was an extraordinary suite of offerings to the public, where people could kind of penetrate the district or our programs in whatever way was comfortable to them, and in many different ways. So thank you for that discipline and for helping us stay focused, and which made the year really successful. The other thing that I was so impressed with these events particularly was Ryan and Natalie and Corey and the other public affairs folks just like rolling with all the things that came down, sometimes the day of the event, sometimes the night before, and just dealing with it and making it successful, like having the shuttle operator bail at the last minute at the Ravenswood event, and the crazy sound system at the coast side event. And so I was so impressed with your your resilience and your fortitude, and always with a smile on your face. So I really appreciated that, and I think the public really did too. And finally, I really love that slide that shows all of the partners that we've expanded to, because we do have our core, friends that we rely on a lot, but wow, what a great set of outreach efforts went into pulling all those partnerships together. So thank you so much. Fantastic year.
I might as well say something because I wasn't really around last year. But sounds a little facetious, but you did a great job because people don't tell me that Midpen is post anymore. It's a distinct difference. So thank you.
We actually, I talked with my counterpart at Post, and we said if we're both standing on the stage together, they can't confuse us, right? And so that's what we did.
It worked.
All right. Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you again. You've set us off on forever. So.
Thank you.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, well, then on to, we have a little bit of business, which is the second reading and adoption of the board compensation ordinance.
Dr. Kishimoto, I'm sorry to
Yes.
interrupt. Do you mind if we go back to that oral comments and see if we can get them back online?
Oh, was there a comment for this 50th
For this
anniversary?
one, I'm sorry. For
Oh, yes,
this,
yes. Oh, for the
this
oral
item, we
comment.
do not
Yes,
have
yes,
any
yes.
public comment,
Okay.
but we do have that oral commenter that we couldn't get online.
Oh, okay.
And that he's waiting to see if we can try one more
Okay.
time.
Yeah, let's squeeze
Thank
that
you.
in. Yes. Welcome. Thank you for coming back.
Just one quick sec. Okay. Brendan down.
Hello.
Okay, you're there. Just want to give a quick sec.
Welcome, Brendan.
Hi. Hi. Can you hear me well? Hi. Can you hear me?
Hold on, there's a little bit of an echo. Yeah.
Okay. Good evening. My comments, can you hear me there?
Yes, go ahead.
Good evening. My comments concern future negotiations with district rangers, specifically about public safety retirement. I would like to preface these thoughts by stating how grateful I am to have had the opportunity to work for Midpen. Living in the Midwestern landscape has given me a new appreciation for the importance of wildland preservation. It is an essential, endangered, and elemental necessity for all the denizens of this planet. The district's land protection efforts have made great strides to ensure the conservation of wildland, and I am glad to have been associated with this agency's accomplishments. So as far as public safety retirement, I'd like to reflect on my own 30-plus career as a ranger and supervising ranger. During that time, I fought fire, conducted and participated in search and rescue operations, responded to motor vehicle accident and biker, hiker, and equestrian medical and trauma incidents, suicides, hazmat events, evacuations, variations in shift work that extended in all hours of the night, sometimes into the next day pending incident needs, all the while enforcing the district's regulations that focused on visitor safety and resource protection. If those activities aren't defined as public safety services, I can't imagine what would. Secondly, my involvement in those activities has had an impact emotionally and physically on my life. Stress from involvement in these activities did accumulate and compound over time. Referring to these issues in support of earlier retirement for people in the public safety sector may make some think that these things are overplayed or cliche. I can tell you at one time, these arguments conjured a similar reaction from me. They don't make that impression on me now, having lived through a full career as a park ranger. 2.5 years after retiring, I'm still feeling the residual effects of those experiences. I know I could probably have worked continue to work until the age of 62, but I can honestly tell you that I don't know how well that career would have ended or what effect those extra years would have had on me, both physically and mentally. Finally, taking a broader view, I would ask how the members of the board envision the way retirement should look in this country. Do moderate gains in the short run outweigh diminishing retirement conditions for people in the future? Is the aspect of people eking out a living on a fixed income acceptable? The board has shown gratitude and appreciation for Mid-Penn staff on many occasions. I greatly appreciate the retirement benefits I have and continue to receive. In that light, the fact that current and future rangers are performing the same duties, facing the same stress levels, and dealing with the same public safety issues as I did, then have to work 7 more years to retire with a lesser retirement plan just doesn't make sense or seem right to me.
Thank you, Brendan. Do you want to just wrap up with a?
Yeah, I just want to say I think public safety retirement is warranted given the job aspects I mentioned, but all rangers should receive the classic 2.5 or 55 retirement formula at the very least. Thank you for your time.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for coming back. Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so we're on to. Well, I could ask for. We didn't take any action, but yes, without any comments for that item number 6.
For the 50th item, I know we did not have any public comments. Thank
Right.
you.
Okay. And there was, no vote required for that. As for item number 7, it does require a vote, and this is the second reading adoption of the board compensation ordinance. And
General Counsel Hillary Stevenson. Thank you, President Kishimoto. So because the ordinance is a legislative act, I know there's no Marjorie Taylor Greene here tonight that I can see, or Nancy Pelosi, but where's your white thing fur? But because it's an ordinance and it's a legislative act, it has to be heard twice. So we did already cover this on January 25th. There was a notice in the newspaper of a public hearing. The hearing was held. There were no public comments. And now is your chance to adopt the ordinance if you choose to do so. It would go into effect in 60 days. And accompanying the ordinance is a minor change to your board policy about board compensation, just to incorporate the new per meeting amount within the board policy. So now I invite you to do any heckling you'd like to. And
Okay.
hopefully by now you all understand what's before you and what you're being asked to do, but I'm happy to take any questions.
so, yes, are there any questions?
This is Director Sear. I move the general manager's recommendation.
Okay, let's see if there's any public comment.
We do not have any
No
public
public
comment.
comments.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, so we have a motion from Director Sear and second from Director Homan. Okay. And I think we're ready for a vote then.
Director Gleason,
Yes.
Director Christine Tucker,
Yes.
Director Riffle,
Yes.
President Kishimoto,
Yes.
Director Holman,
Yes.
Director McNiven,
Yes.
Director Sear.
Yes,
Thank you. Motion passes 7-0.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, we have one informational item, which is an update on the middle Stevens Creek Trail. And yes, I want to thank Director Riffle for having worked on that, and our Assistant General Manager Susanna. And so I'm happy to see the progress on that. Is there anybody have any questions or comments on that? Okay, good.
I just wanted to say that I'm also very, very excited, and I know lots of people are very excited about this project. So we were talking about it yesterday on our field trip.
Oh, okay.
And I'd spoken to Director Riffle before about the folks in Cupertino who are really pushing hard to complete the connections through there. They're extremely enthusiastic, so I really appreciate their work too.
Okay, great. Yes. And yes, I think I mentioned earlier that we're inviting over the Friends of Stevens Creek to come for some discussion with us. So Okay, and so let's move on to committee reports.
We do not have any committee
No committee
reports.
reports. Okay, staff reports. Any staff reports? Yes. Stefan, our CFO.
Good evening, Stefan Joshua, CFO. Oh, it wasn't on. It's a green thing that looks like it's on, but it's not until you push it, then it really lights up. So you have the same one, I guess. Yeah. Anyway, start over. Stefan Joshua, CFO. I'm going to give a quick sneak preview on what's coming next board meeting, and that is, which is the plan for next board meeting, the contract award for the FOSM refresh. We issued the RFP right before the holiday, so December 21, 22, thereabouts. Gave 5 firms a heads up, including the 3 that bid back in 2015, plus 2 other ones, as well as advertised it on our BidSync Periscope system, which means it went out to about 200 consulting firms. On January 9th, General Manager and I had a mandatory pre-bid meeting, and 3 firms showed up. It was virtual, but 3 showed up, and those were the original 3. And we received 1 bid that is from Baker Tilly, which is the large nationwide accounting firm that acquired Management Partners. And the project manager is Nancy Hetrick, same as before. There's a lot of continuity there. I had recruited the general manager, both AGMs and the controller to help me score all the RFPs that the responses we are going to get in, but that's no longer needed. However, I am getting the band together for Monday to have a sit-down meet and greet Q&A with Baker Tilly, aka Management Partners, just to get the ball rolling, and then planning to bring it to you hopefully for approval on February 22nd, after which we can execute contract, and they have a fast and furious schedule lined up to have some actionable recommendations by fall, by September, October. That's the update on the FOSM refresh. More to come in 2 weeks.
Exciting. Thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Of course.
Could you give me a very quick summary of what FOSM is? I'm sorry.
No.
I have no idea.
It's a good question. FOSM is an acronym that stands for Financial and Operational Sustainability Model.
I have that.
And it rolls off the tongue easily, even though it's a 4-letter word, but sometimes. So in 2014, when Measure AA was passed, all of a sudden there's an influx of $300 million with a lot of projects on the roll. And the organization said, oops, now we need to do those projects. Well, we're not geared up for that. We don't have the organizational structure to do that. That's why the FOSM was done, that study was done to set up the organizational structure to handle all of that, and also to have a growth trajectory for bringing on more and more people to handle the projects, but also to make sure that it would keep pace with increases in revenue so that we wouldn't outspend the operational side in order to do the bond side.
I got it.
It's the balancing act, and it worked really well.
Yes. I often wondered how you expanded for all these extra things that you have coming your way.
Yeah.
And you've done a great job. So it's FOSM that does that.
It does. Well, yeah, it's the guiding document for that. And without the FOSM, I wouldn't be here. That was one of the 60 recommendations. 55 of those have already been implemented. The other 5 are still keeping an eye on to potentially implement. And that's an unusually high percentage of follow through on consulting reports. Most consulting reports I've ever seen gather dust. This one doesn't. The board's really taken it to heart, and management as well, to use that. The first 5 years was very granular as far as growth. And then it started to get less and less granular. We've taken on a lot of additional tasks like wildfire, acquiring Cloverdale, and a host of other tasks that were not in the picture back in 2014. So now it's time to say, okay, what does that mean to absorb all of that? Where can we grow again? How can we grow again, et cetera? So that's kind of the impetus for the refresh.
No.
Okay.
Okay. Well, very good. Anyway, well, thank you. Thank you, Stefan. Yes. Any other staff reports? If not, director reports? Should we start down there? Yes.
Start this way?
Yes.
Well, so I just wanted to comment. I had an opportunity to, I had a little extra time one day and I floated into Rancho and went up to see who was in the office. And there were just a couple of folks in the office, but one of them was Ranger Alicia Cabrera. Anyway, thank you very much, Brian. And so she offered to do a ride along. And so we wandered around, found places where catch ponds had filled with water from the rains. And the memory of it particularly is she took me up to the Mora tank, which is a high point in the preserve. And it was an absolutely spectacular view. It was chilly, but you could see standing in one spot. You could look north and see over 60 miles to,
Mount Tam.
Tam. Thank you. And then sweep around in the whole range of the valley below. And if you look to the south, you could see Pinnacle out of Hollister. So from Marin County to Hollister, sweeping over, of course, the counties in the East Bay as you swept. So I did a little funky video on my phone, and she took a couple of pictures of me standing next to the Ranger truck. But we had a really wonderful opportunity to see it. And so I have it on my phone as if at some point somebody wants to see it, just to get a sense of what that was like. I've seen a lot of spectacular views in many years over the course that I've been connected to the district, but never anything quite like that. So it's really special. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other reports? Yes, Dr. Holman?
Well, it's less a report than it is a thank you for Board President Kishimoto for doing your brown bag lunches.
Oh.
And I'm really inspired by them. I have to miss this one too because of a prior obligation that also has to do with nature, but I'm really impressed, and I don't want to put anybody on the spot. I just want to say, like, if it's possible that the brown bag lunches could be videoed, and that would be really, really terrific to capture those. And I know 2, if not 3 people who do that kind of thing. I can't volunteer them, of course, but if Midpen doesn't have the capability internally, I'm happy to, reach out and see if we can get them, get some volunteer effort to record them, because I think I was disappointed not to get to see the last one. This one I'm really disappointed about, because I've got a couple of books about Sam McDonald, and it's just like, oh man. So anyway, it's a thank you to you.
Oh, well, thank you.
And a suggestion and offer to staff. So thank you.
Okay, well, thank you. Well, we might follow up and get your recommendations then, possibly. But since we're on that topic, yes, I'll mention the next one is February 23rd. It's a week from Thursday, tomorrow, 2 weeks from tomorrow. And it will be on Sam McDonald. So, yeah. Yes, yeah. Yes, I thought I had sent it, said, okay, yes, 12:30. Yes, yes. So, yeah, and I think the mayor of East Palo Alto is coming and a few so I've started hearing back from people, so it should be good. And I have well, since I'm on it, I will continue. I guess it's just a reminder that, let's see, tomorrow we're having our visits to Sacramento, I know. And the board retreat is on February 16th. So hopefully that's on everybody's calendars. And yes, yes, Director Whipple.
Just one, on January 26th, I attended Assemblymember Berman's open house in his new office because one unnamed agency kicked him out of his old office. So his new office isn't nearly as nice as his old office, but it was great to see him, and I thanked him for his support, but especially for his support for helping find funding for our Cloverdale acquisition.
Okay.
Couple things. First, I wanted to welcome our new district clerk.
Yes.
Yay.
Yes, thank you so much.
Second, I had a fantastic tour of the Clarissa Methodist Sea Trail yesterday with Director Gleason. It was a terrific tour. We got to see all of the trail planning that's gone in and the really interesting phased approach to parking out there at Verde Road. It was a great day. Really appreciate staff and their preparation on that. And finally, I just want to a point of information for everybody after the kind of shocking shootings in Half Moon Bay. I had a great conversation with Supervisor Ray Muller, who's taken over from Don Horsley, as you probably all know. And the county is working very quickly on a new program to really monitor farm worker housing conditions. They'll start out by asking each of the farmers on the coast to self-report what their conditions are, and there will be funding available for them to tap into if they need to upgrade. So that's good, and there will be some serious fines and repercussions for folks that don't report and that are continuing to, house farm workers in those deplorable conditions. So it looks like perhaps something good will have come from this terrible situation, and it's long overdue. So more to follow on that.
Okay, great.
That's all for me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I also wanted to thank the staff for the tourism of the sea field trip. And I realized I misspoke before. It was Jane Mark that was with us, and I was speaking to about the Stevens Creek Trail. But I thought I'd followed this pretty closely, but as always, seeing it in that way made me understand all of the complexity, and I'm very, very impressed by the staff's ability to deal with all of that and all of those moving parts. And again, very, very exciting, and it was beautiful to see part of the proposed trail alignment there. Also, I wanted to mention that last week I missed this myself, but there was the online version of the Highway 17 Connections Open House. I had been to the live one in Los Gatos, but Maria Risto, the mayor of Los Gatos, was live texting me during the presentation, and she was very, very excited about it. And last night at the town council meeting, she gave a really enthusiastic summary. And so in addition to, my understanding was maybe 80 people attended our event, but she broadcast this to all of the people who are at the town council meeting, which is maybe 100 people live, and I'm not sure how many people online. And yeah, people are very excited about this as well. Thanks.
Okay, great, wonderful. Oh yes, I peeked in online too. Yeah. Okay, great, and well, thank you for mentioning the appointment of Maria Soria, where the transition has been so smooth, and the hybrid meetings are so complex. So congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so with that, I think the meeting is over.